Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Friday, February 11, 2011. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., 6:30 p.m. in Cairo, Egypt, 4:30 in London, Mexico City. It's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. We'll go right to our news. Well, the big news right now, about 15 minutes ago, Vice President Suleiman of Egypt released a statement saying that President Mubarak has resigned. He earlier, actually last evening, left Cairo to go to his estate at the resort of Sharm el-Sheikh at the Gulf of Aqaba. At 5:30 this morning, the Egyptian military announced that they were supporting Mubarak's plan for an orderly transition, which meant that they were supporting him being in power until September. That provoked an immediate reaction worldwide, and the crowd today in the square and throughout Cairo in demonstrations after the mosque prayers that ended at 1 p.m. today, Cairo time, exceeded apparently 5 million people. Shortly after that, about half an hour ago or so, Mubarak actually officially resigned. Any cable TV station will show you there are throngs of absolute delirium right now in Tahrir Square. People are celebrating the end of the 30-year rule. So it's been a very interesting 18 days, and we've gone from a situation about 6 or 7 hours ago where it looked certain as if there was going to be blood in the streets in Cairo when the Egyptian military decided to back Mubarak, to being a state of euphoria right now as Mubarak has in fact resigned. Richard Banks in the Insurance Day has a very interesting article featuring extensive quotations from Sue Langley. Sue Langley at Lloyd's, of course. She's the Director of Market Operations. Ms. Langley is a very forward thinker and has been at the forefront of a number of initiatives attempting to move the market into the direction of the 21st century, which would probably be a good thing since we're 11 years into it. She claims that business leaders in the London market need to be more visible in their support for the reform agenda. She said that the Lloyd's Exchange Electronic Endorsements project is at a critical point. She's revealed an initiative to examine using the program platform for accounting and settlement is going to be starting very soon. That's obviously a very ambitious leap from a program that has not met its 100% usage target for only marine endorsements, but her plans are such that lessons need to be learned from the pilot. She's saying that one of the interesting things is that those that are seeing the greatest benefit are those that have this program integrated into their systems. Those that just bought into it as a temporary solution are finding it quite clunky because there's lots of manual intervention. She acknowledged to Mr. Banks that there's a catch-22 situation for those uncertain about committing further investment into the exchange program. She said this is a critical moment for the pilot because you're not going to invest unless you see the volume really coming through. The volumes aren't going to be encouraged unless you're investing, so the message we need to get into the market is this is continuing. And just like the electronic claims initiative, to get the long-term benefit, it's pointless not to have it integrated into your system. Ms. Langley urged London's business leaders to take a more prominent role. She said, what I'd like to see now is some more business leadership in just saying this is going to happen, and we're fully behind it. Well, good luck to Sue Langley. That's a big task. We noted that when she started off with a very modest goal of trying to get 100% participation in simple marine endorsements. That didn't quite work, and she's still pushing. You have to give her credit. Montpelier Re has come out with some news. They've admitted trading conditions are going to be difficult this year as well, following a year which saw the reinsurer's net profit fell by over 50%. It's on the back of a dip in underwriting and investment performance. Net profit for the full year totaled $212 million. That was down from about $464 million in 2009. Q4 profits also saw a big decline, almost 60% down to $42 million. Net investment income was down $74 million for the year compared with $81 million during 2009. The underwriting hit, of course, was largely due to the series of catastrophe events, such as last February's Chilean quake, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig, and September's New Zealand quake. The Chile quake cost Montpelier Re $94 million, Deepwater Horizon $20 million, and the New Zealand quake $30 million. That's basically it right there. As a result of the increase in cat losses, Montpelier Re's full-year combined ratio jumped from 62% to 82%. Meanwhile, in Paris, the French reinsurer SCOR said that it has enjoyed an excellent outcome, their words, from its 1/1 renewals, posting a 13% year-on-year increase in premium income up to 2 billion euros. They described the market environment as fragmented. SCOR added that it had experienced stable average weighted rates and unchanged terms and conditions. SCOR said that it's continued to manage its portfolio activity, canceling 7% of the business that was up for renewal, restructuring another 12%, which was more than adequately replaced by premiums meeting their profitability targets. SCOR maintained its portfolio profile by keeping an underweight exposure on segments experiencing the most price pressure, namely U.S. long-tail casualty and U.S. cat. Victor Penier, the CEO of SCOR Global, explained during a conference call that 6 market segments have performed below expectations: property cat cover in France and the UK, property proportional and motor proportional in the Middle East, and casualty proportional and non-proportional business in Canada. Penier said that SCOR had chosen to redeploy capital in markets with better expected profitability. Well, claims figures for the Queensland floods in Australia have now reached $2 billion US after a large commercial, industrial, and mining claims segment have begun to come in. This is according to the Insurance Council of Australia. The council said that insurers had now completed 77% of initial claims assessments and that about $200 million US have already been paid to policyholders. Insurers have so far received just about 44,000 claims. For the floods in northern Victoria, there have been 5,600 claims with about $67 million in estimated losses. Insurers have only completed 65% of those initial claims assessments. The stock market in New York now is up about 25 points. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news. Well, once again, in a world in which we live on soil and earth that apparently is crisscrossed underneath it by endless numbers of miles of pipeline, gas pipeline, in Columbiana County, Ohio, not too far from Cleveland, the gas pipeline exploded last night. Here's a picture of it. It created a fireball so big that people saw it for 55 miles. The town is located about 35 miles southeast of Cleveland, Ohio. The blast occurred at 10:30 p.m. last night. A spokesman for El Paso Corporation, which operates Tennessee gas pipelines, said that there were no structural fires. Let's look at this map. This is the U.S. pipeline system. Again, it's unthinkable that it permeates everywhere. The explosion involved a 36-inch buried transmission line that carries natural gas through the region. El Paso Energy said mechanisms in the section that failed automatically shut off the segment and the residual gas burned off. No word on how long the segment that was shut off was. Given that map, it could have been several miles long, which would have led to the very big blast. The United States is not alone in being crisscrossed with gas pipelines. The problem occurred today in Qom, in Iran. Qom is the Shia holy city. 3 natural gas pipelines exploded in central Iran early today. The explosion occurred at about 5:50 a.m. near Qom. The blast caused panic among the people in the region. There were no casualties. According to the Iranians, there was no disruption in gas flow to the users. The blast only occurred in one single pipeline. Apparently, people who were in mosques took quite a fright. And there was a major quake south of the Philippines today. Actually, it was late last night. It was a 6.6 earthquake. It shook southern parts of the Philippines. It was too deep to cause any damage. It occurred at about 10:39 p.m. local time. The quake was about 180 miles southeast of the city of Jolo, which is the capital of Sulu Island. And in Pakistan, for the 4th day now, the country's state-owned airline, Pakistan International Airlines, has once again grounded all of its flights because of an employee strike. The strike has turned violent in some areas as police are clashing with striking employees. The airline is the country's largest carrier and the main operator of its domestic and international schedule. About 250 flights have been canceled since Tuesday. The problem apparently is that management wants to share routes with Turkish Airlines. However, the pilots and support staff are on strike because they think it will lead to job and pay cuts. Well, we'll go back to Egypt again for our wrap-up. There's still euphoria going on in the street. Apparently what did occur is that the military finally did act and did intervene and suggested that the situation in Tahrir Square was becoming untenable, and that President Mubarak, in fact, did have to step down. Frankly, if I could see this from my distance, where I live in New Jersey, at 5:30 this morning, this was a foregone conclusion. And with the number of people that are in downtown Cairo right now protesting, for the military to have acted on their earlier statement of backing President Mubarak would have led to a bloodbath, and thousands of people would have been injured or killed. So our congratulations today to several people. First of all, to the Egyptian military for their restraint and also their change of position. And secondly, credit has to be given to President Mubarak, who did step down, who did take that move, and did leave, and is now going to spend the rest of his days in exile somewhere in Egypt or somewhere in Europe. Sometimes people do make the right decision, even if they have to be pushed, in this case for 18 days. That's all the news that we have for today. If we have any breaking news, although I think Egypt will be quiet now, we'll come back and tell you. In the meantime, have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.